What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Our college football playoff preview continues with a breakdown, countdown of the top 10 Texas Longhorns prospects for the 2024 NFL Draft. Joining me, as always, the Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. Full disclosure, after that horrible collapse from the Philadelphia Eagles, we're a bit down today. It is New Year's Day. Chime in with us. This is group therapy. What's going on, Ryan?
Yeah, you said it. A little numb at the moment, a little tired. A lot of mixed emotions here going on, but I'm excited to watch some playoff college football tonight. And one of the teams that I'm really excited about is the Texas Longhorns, and that's who we're discussing today. I can't wait to dive into their deep prospect pool.
Yeah. Guys, if you're new to this show, new to this channel, we've been doing top 10 breakdowns over the last month plus. Every position for the defense, every college football playoff except for Texas, which we're about to do. So if there's anything you want to learn about, know about when it comes to the college football playoff, we're just a few hours away from Texas versus Washington here on Monday, New Year's Day. Comment with us. Let's break it down. Let's jump right into this thing. Leading off, number one, and that is Adon Mitchell, a really, really intriguing wide receiver prospect. Not as variable as some of the other receiver prospects at the top of this draft, nor is he much of a threat after the catch. But if you're looking for an X receiver, he does two things really well. He separates really well, and he catches the football extremely well. He's 21 years old. He's a great route runner with really good explosiveness, footwork, and twitch. Full route tree. His athleticism to threaten vertically and create extra space is all there if that's what you're looking for. He's got a long 6'4" frame, which when you watch tape, I love how it shows up with his blocking. So this is actually one of the better blocking wide receiver prospects in the draft. And then he's just got some unique tools, man. That unique separation ability to kind of grow into an impact starter at the X receiver spot. That's what Adon Mitchell is all about. When you pair that with his high-end blocking ability, man, this guy's got starter potential, no doubt about it. Any thoughts on Adon Mitchell?
Yeah, absolutely. Mitchell has extremely strong hands. He's a competitive guy. And you can see his kind of his vision of the field is really special. He has a good sense of timing. Especially when you look at kind of his jump balls, the high pointing, skills that he has. You also said it, the fact that he's such a good blocker really does kind of bode well for him and his ability to stay on the field. And what's great about him is I feel like he has the frame that probably could use probably a little bit more weight to be added, which is only going to help him further. He's not necessarily your blazing speed guy, but he. That doesn't mean he's somebody that's he's rarely caught from behind once he kind of gets that separation. So, yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's, for me anyway, he's an easy round one selection. And a team is going to get themselves a competitor.
Yep, I agree. Round one all the way. Let's roll into our number two prospect for the Longhorns. And this guy is just a man among boys. It is T'Vondre Sweat, defensive tackle, 6'4", 362 pounds, man. Strong run defender, has the size and strength to be a good two-gapping nose tackle in the NFL. That's what this guy's all about. Just almost impossible to move with one-on-one blocks. Great at handling double teams. Great at shedding blocks due to his ridiculous upper body strength. Just naturally dominant. He draws a lot of double teams, but he has the power and the sheer will to just split them anytime he wants. Negative wise, he needs to work on his conditioning. I've watched many Texas Longhorns games. Like there are times when this guy just pops off the tape, off the screen. He looks like the best player on the football field. And then there are times when he just goes absent and you don't even know where he went to. So if you're looking for a nose tackle, a space-eating nose tackle who can plug up some gaps, man, this guy checks off a lot of boxes. Tremendous short area quickness, physical, mean, violent, capable of collapsing the pocket, will hunt down screenplays and make tackles. Or if you just want him to kind of Jordan Davis it and take up space, that's what he can do as T'Vondre Sweat.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is a multifaceted interior defensive lineman. His hand use is absolutely excellent. And he has such a strong upper body, but he's kind of tall, but he plays with a good low kind of level of power there that uses his legs and really does come naturally for kind of the bull rush. And he's always kind of has his eyes in the backfield and always seems to get there. So yeah, he's definitely kind of a bit of a raw prospect. And I think with a little bit of a consistency and better and more violent hand use and ability to kind of shed his blockers, he could really become a true elite player in that next level. So I'm super happy and excited to kind of see where he kind of ends up in the next couple of years.
Me too, man. I think he's like round 1, round 2. I think he's like right on that tier below our boy Johnny Newton, which we covered in our defensive tackle video. We have Peter in chiming in, say Happy New Year's, bros. Good, man. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. I wish it was a better New Year's. We're all still a little bummed out here from the Eagles game. We'll bring the energy tomorrow during Birds of the Roundtable. No,
we're all yelling about the game.
Everything hurts right now, Peter, but we plug along. We're trying to get these in. Let's go on to number 3. Another playmaker, Xavier Worthy, wide receiver for Texas. This is a guy who wins in 3 main areas: speed, athleticism, and route running. This guy's speed is truly elite. He's already been clocked in at 4.29 in the 40-yard dash, which automatically makes him one of the fastest players in the NFL, man. This guy can hit the jets. He has speed that can, allow him to blow by defenders, create big plays down the field. Extremely athletic with really good leaping ability and body control. That allows him to make difficult catches in traffic. Also a good runner after the catch. And then you get to route running, able to create separation from defenders, able to get downfield. And he's got a variety of moves, deep routes, slants, curls. And then you get the negatives. It's got to be that frame. You look at that, 164 pounds weight. He's a little heavier than that because this graphic was from last offseason. He's about 172 now, but that's still way below the average weight for NFL wide receivers. And that lack of play strength will make it difficult for him to compete with more physical cornerbacks at the next level. So has to add weight, has to add strength, but I could easily see this guy get maybe first-round buzz if he tests really well, which I expect him to. Any thoughts on Xavier Worthy?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a back end of the first round type of talent. But yeah, this guy is just a speedy, athletic playmaker. Honestly, get him the ball in his hands and just let him go to work. He's really explosive.
Don't draft him to the Eagles because they won't use him.
Wow. I don't even want to go there. But he plays with kind of this smoothness about him. He has a great balance, and he really does. You almost feel like he enjoys the matchup with defensive backs and trying to get one over on them. But yeah, he's extremely great outside the numbers, good ball tracking skills, and he honestly just kind of does all the little things well when it comes to deep balls. But you're right. He definitely needs to get stronger. He needs to build up his frame, and you know, it's going to be, unless he's, going to go the route of kind of Devontae Smith, but still, even then, Devontae Smith is 1,000-yard receiver, but he's still a skinny guy. We just don't ask him to block the on screenplays, I guess. But I still think he's capable of really helping a team late in the round one. I think that's exactly where he ends up going.
All right, that's Xavier Worthy, really good player, and it keeps coming, man. Texas has a lot of athletes at the skill positions. And going into number 4, it is JT Sanders. Ryan, one of your boys here. I know you're really high on him. Just a great athlete, 6'4", 249 pounds. He was a former 5-star recruit out of high school. He's not Brock Bowers. Like Brock Bowers, you take Brock Bowers anywhere he goes, he's going to succeed. Yeah. Any scheme doesn't matter. I think this guy is going to be a little more scheme dependent, but that's not inherently a bad thing. I expect him to be like a big slot target. In the correct situation, I could see this. I could see a team potentially targeting him back end of round 1. He's got that ability to kind of line up all over different formations, execute a wide variety of different blocks, and give quarterbacks like clean route running and a reliable pair of hands. He's a terrific athlete after the catch as well. Any thoughts on JT?
Yeah, you said it. He's Mr. Reliable. He is somebody you can absolutely lean on. Especially if he goes to a team with kind of a young quarterback, he can be that guy, that safety blanket, and that that person that he feels most comfortable with. He's an absolute a chain mover. He has the skills to absolutely stand out in the red zone. He has pretty good foot speed to go along with that, and I think as you said, he's certainly not Brock Bowers, but man, I wouldn't doubt that this guy has so much success in the next level. He's just a natural playmaker. Mm-hmm. He has great hands, and he certainly is. Somebody that needs to kind of hone up some of the little things in the next level. But I think he ends up going to a good spot. I would say probably gets pushed into round 2. Wouldn't be shocked if he ends up going round 1. But listen, there is a certain team. I won't name names, that has 2 second-round picks that I would love for him to get drafted by. It may be on my hat right now. I don't know. I can't really see that high, but I love this guy, honestly. I've been screaming for getting a second tight end to the Eagles, and he would be my ideal pick in the second round for sure.
One quick note on JT before we move on to number 5. This guy's a gamer, and I say that with Washington versus Texas just a little over 4 hours away. You look at the Big 12 championship, JT Sanders had 8 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown in the biggest game of the year. Prior to that, against Alabama, number 3 at the time, he had 5 catches, 114 yards. Yeah. So, big game against Washington. Make sure you keep an eye on JT Sanders, finding those pockets in the middle of the field. So
does that well.
Yepers. Moving on, number 5, it is Baron Sorrell here. He was one of my breakout stars of 2023. He's like an edge rusher linebacker for the Longhorns. Dense, compact, 6'3", 256 pounds, hot motor. He's a little shortish when it comes to size, but he's definitely kind of a twitched up, compact edge rusher. He had 34 tackles this year. He had a team high 10 quarterback hurries. One of his sacks, important to note, was an overtime game winner against Kansas State in November in overtime. So this is a junior. So that's also important to note. If you're following along, Texas is going to be absolutely destroyed by the draft this year. They're going to be reloading in a lot of different areas. So I'm sure Texas is going to want to convince this guy to return. uh, next season in 2024. But any thoughts on Baron Sorrell?
Yeah, no, he's an absolute active force on that defensive line. Great upper body strength, very forceful, as I said. Able to beat those blocks. He has great violent hands. Has kind of a again not necessarily the quickest guy out there, but has such a nice burst, and it really is evident when he's kind of closing in on play in the backfield. So yeah, I think he's certainly flexible enough that, and he has good bend to kind of get around that edge, and really is able to use kind of that quick burst and that change of direction skills to his full abilities when it comes to that. So yeah, I like him. I think he has kind of a great feel for getting off his blocks and getting into the play. And is able to kind of counter, some of the offensive linemen he goes up against. But yeah, listen, he's not, like I said, he's not the fastest. He doesn't have that, so-called twitch, as they like to say, in the pass rushing game. And could use a little bit more flexibility. But yeah, I like Sorrell. I think. I think he's kind of be a guy that finds his place in the NFL. Depending on what team he goes to, he really could kind of be one of those guys that shines that you don't really see coming for the normal NFL fan.
Yep. Let's roll on to number 6. The guy that I am really interested in, and this probably is on a short list of dudes that I will be watching tonight. And that is Jaylen Ford, really intriguing linebacker prospect for the Longhorns. Always all over the field, man, just flies around. He's got sideline to sideline range on all 3 downs, 91 tackles, 10.5 for loss, a sack, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, 2 pass breakups. And he's impactful as his stat sheet suggests. This is one of the glue players for that Texas defense. He leads the team in takeaways with 4, just a natural playmaker, especially in timely situations. Like, Ryan, I don't think this is a Fred Warner level-esque linebacker at the next level, but like he's got intellect, he's got range. I think this guy could be a plus starter. You add that, you add like elite length, really good size at 6'3". He uses that to choke passing lanes. He's got a wide tackle radius, and he's pretty good in coverage. So he's not going to be that like 4.5 40 guy. I think he's not an elite athlete, and he might drop because of it. But this could be like a really intriguing day 2, day 3 guy for the Eagles. I'm really interested in him. Like, this is, I think, one of the top cover linebackers eligible in the draft, especially from the Mike spot. Any thoughts on Jaylen Ford?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You said it, I think, and to be perfectly honest, you talked about Fred Warner. I mean, I don't think anybody thought Fred Warner was going to be Fred Warner. I mean, he was what, 70th pick in the draft when Fred Warner was drafted, and yeah, listen, he's definitely got some really good quickness off the line of scrimmage. Shows those violent hands. Can win around the edge when need be. Can be kind of used as a decent inside run defender, but really just kind of, you see the leadership, you see the skills, you see the instinct that this man has, and really is able to kind of see where the play develops before it does. And he's a really good physical tackler, which I think is going to serve him so well on the next level. But he really does have a good closing burst and good footwork to in combination with that. I think like I said, he's a little bit raw. He tends to kind of maybe over pursue, trying to get into the backfield a little too much. But I think he's kind of, you see the skill set, you see the instinct, you see the intellect. So I feel like, yes, he probably will be a late day tour, in my opinion. But man, I could see him kind of, coming out, year or two, getting, some skills under his belt and some experience in the NFL, and, be a solid starter for years to come, honestly.
Yeah, the linebacker class is not very good this year. There's some really good ones at the top, but after that, there's a lot of raw developmental kind of
A
guys.
lot of raw.
And yeah, Jaylen Ford, if he's as good as his coverage suggests, I'll be all over that. Given how much the Eagles love to run nickel, well, who knows what the Eagles defense could look like in a few months at this point? So we really don't know, but that's a whole other conversation. All right.
Sure.
Rolling into number 7, a guy that has really opened eyes all season long is Jonathan Brooks. Important to note, he is undecided and he will not be playing tonight. He's fighting an injury, so keep an eye out on his backup, CJ Baxter, another big running back for Texas. But Jonathan Brooks is a great prospect in his own right. Had major shoes to fill in replacing Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson last year. This guy's a big play waiting to happen. He's not Bijan Robinson, but he's a well-rounded prospect with a number of plus qualities that I think translate to the NFL really well. He's got quick feet. He's an underrated wide receiver, despite he had 0 receptions last season. He's got good vision and quickness. I think the rap on this guy was he doesn't have elite breakaway speed. I've been doing winners of the week every single week this season. I've seen him play. This dude has break. He can absolutely hit a second gear. He's a really interesting piece of the 2024 running back class. Thanks to his late emergence. I think he has upside to be a 3-down option at the next level. He doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his legs, which you got to love as an NFL guy. And, I think he's got the foot speed and agility to run zone concepts and the physicality to run downhill in a more vertical scheme. This guy could be a day 2 guy. Texas just pumps out these guys, man. Any thoughts on Jonathan Brooks?
Yeah, no, I mean, coming off the fact that, you have 2 running backs that come out of Texas last year into the draft, and, you're basically almost, it feels like you're starting over. And, listen, I think Brooks had a lot of, big shoes to fill, honestly. And, he seems to be a very smooth athlete. He seems to be a really good weapon, especially in space. And, he's very flexible, especially his feet, his ankles, to kind of get around the corner, get to the perimeter when the opportunity, happens. And, yeah, like you said, there's the knock on him is always, it doesn't seem that he has that speed, but I think he has really good straightaway speed. He just maybe lacks that acceleration, that burst. But I don't know. I'm kind of with you. I've seen it. It just maybe needs to show it a little bit more consistently. But he seems to be, sometimes he could be a little too indecisive or hesitant when it comes to making that decision of what hole to hit at the line of scrimmage. But yeah, I think the more we see of his receiving skills, I think the better it will serve him in the next level for sure. But yeah, I could definitely see him sneaking into a day 2 spot. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he was kind of, end of 3, more likely beginning of 4. But yeah, no, I like Brooks, and I think he, he'll find a home in the NFL somewhere.
There's some fun north-south running backs in this class. We haven't touched that yet. We'll reveal what position we're doing next at the end of the show. I think, Ryan, you already know. But some north-south guys like Audric Estime, Trey Benson, Braylon Allen. There's some fun day 2 north-south guys if you're looking for some chain movers. But let's roll into number 8, and that is Jaden Baron, a defensive back prospect here out of Texas. He accepted a Reese's Senior Bowl invite about a month ago, took over full-time for Texas as the team's nickel defender 2 years ago, and really hasn't missed a beat. Last year, he had 78 tackles, 2 picks, and 5 passes defense. This year, 55 tackles, 6 passes defense, an interception, and a forced fumble. This is a guy who plays a ton in the box and in the slot. He's another one of those glue guys for the Longhorns defense. solid against the run. He's got 22 run stops this year, along with 16 tackles for loss over the last 2 years. So probably a day 3 guy. And, this is absolutely one of the better slot defenders in the NFL draft, if that's what you're looking for here. Cough, Eagles cough. But Jaden Baron.
That's great. Listen, Baron certainly is, I think somebody who the Eagles could certainly be intrigued by later in the draft. But, he really does have pretty good instincts, especially when in zone coverage, good ball skills, good route, recognition. And really does seem to have good closing speed. When asked to kind of get up on the line of scrimmage, he's kind of able to, shadow and has the quickness to shadow receivers, or again, kind of close in when quick plays happen. But he's good size. He's a good mover, fluid. Good backpedaling, good mirroring skills. And like I said, he excels in zone coverage rather than, over man, I guess. But yeah, he I think he just needs to play with a little bit more of physicality and more aggressiveness. And he just seems to kind of maybe isn't too consistent with that, or maybe is unsure of when to be aggressive, when not to be. So, but yeah, listen, again, when you're coming off of, these players that are going to be in the middle to the end of the draft, obviously there's a lot of rawness, and there's obviously a lot of skills that need to get worked on, and he's no exception. But I still think team is gonna have him, and he's gonna be a good depth piece for somebody. And again, potential skills to carve out a niche and maybe find a starting role somewhere.
Absolutely. All right, rolling into number 9, Byron Murphy II, defensive tackle prospect. Absolutely gets overlooked because the man across from him and Devondre Sweat is just so massive. But he's a stellar prospect in his own right. He's a high ceiling disruptor, very good athlete. Shows a lot of energy as a rusher, despite being like 6'1", 308 pounds. At run defense, good play strength. He could absorb double teams if you need him to. I think Byron Murphy's floor as a run defender, with his strength and mass and athleticism, is pretty high. He's kind of like that Moro Ajomo. Like, you kind of know what you're going to get with Byron Murphy. And he's definitely flashed some upside as a pass rusher. Possible day 2 guy. I think he falls to day 3. Any thoughts on Byron Murphy?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be a day 3 guy. Yeah, he definitely gets overlooked for sure, but again, he's certainly not at the level of Sweat by any means. But yeah, listen, he's got a great motor on him. Good, a really good leverage player, especially at the point of attack. Has the versatility to kind of be inside, outside, and really does kind of just has such a focus on getting into the backfield. He's able to kind of be kind of a second or tertiary, defensive weapon in the pass rush, as far as getting penetration and getting to the quarterback. So, good strong punch. When engaged with his blocks, uses his hands well to get off those blocks. But yeah, I think he's kind of a guy who's maybe a little consistent in pursuit, a little rangy when it comes to that. I think he, again, is somebody that maybe doesn't use his size and his his skill sets to his full advantage. It feels like he lacks that physicality, that violence, especially when utilizing his hands when he's engaged. And I think he doesn't necessarily have the speed to kind of recover when kind of asked to. So a lot of rawness, but still, it's certainly somebody in that Texas defensive line that certainly gets after it. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And to round out, I think just real quick, like I think Byron Murphy and T'Vondre Sweat are the two keys for Texas in this matchup against Washington, and how they handle Dylan Johnson and that Washington offensive line, which has kept Michael Penix clean all year, and in big games has run over good teams all year. So keep an eye out on Byron Murphy and T'Vondre Sweat. Those are the two I think that are so vital if Texas wants to slow down Washington's offense. And number 10, I feel like I've been talking about this guy forever, man. He is Jaylen Catalone, a defensive back, likely day 3 undrafted free agent prospect. He came from Arkansas, and he was a really heralded prospect over there who has battled shoulder problems throughout his college career. So he's got some durability issues, but he is a good coverage defensive back. And like I said, I've been covering from his days in Arkansas, but like he's supposed to be a ball skills guy, and he has 0 interceptions and 0 passes defense this season. So I don't really know much to read on this one. But any thoughts on Jaylen Catalone?
Yeah, you said it. He's a guy that should be be able to kind of pad the stats given his skill set. But I think it's his awareness, his instincts, can't be understated. He's certainly a smart player out there, and especially when you see him in the red zone, he just really is kind of able to stays on that back line and is able to kind of hone in on the red zone. But he certainly is somebody that needs to be more consistent, needs to be more involved in the play. Just seems to be maybe this year he's just kind of missing out just barely, but he seems to have a good, good instincts for the NFL, but he also doesn't, have, your prototypical size of a NFL safety, and, a little short, if you will. And, again, his flexibility, his fluidity isn't the best either. I think you're likely looking at kind of around 7, maybe an undrafted kind of spot for him. But listen, I still think that Texas defense, I mean, it is really good with the combination of him and Baron. He just needs to be a little bit more involved in the play and get a little bit more physical, I think. But he's a super raw prospect that has the skill sets. You can see that. Just again, maybe his lack of size may hinder him, and again, this lack of production this year is not doing him any favors either.
Yeah, it just has not met the hype, and the production has not translated. So all right, that is our top 10 Texas prospects, man. Ryan, we did it.
Yeah.
that was a journey.
Listen, we got all 4 playoff teams just in under the gun. So now we're gonna watch some college football playoffs, and we're gonna see who's gonna be playing for the championship next week. Listen, we're still going through our positional top 10s. We have covered all of the defense, and it still didn't help the Eagles yesterday. So we're going to move on to the offense and offensive tackles, which we've already covered. And I was going to say, I know you said you were going to reveal the big reveal.
Oh boy, drum roll. We with 60% of the vote, it will be interior offensive linemen. I got to say, there are some really good interior offensive linemen in this draft. And that's going to be an interesting one too, because there's a lot of tackles that are potentially moving inside as well. So we'll be, careful there. I did vote for wide receiver, not necessarily for the Eagles' perspective, but like just because of how fun it is.
Right, exactly. Wanting to talk about them. I want to say I think I voted for tight end. I was probably
Okay.
one of the 7% there, but yeah, I again same thing. I as much as I would love for the Eagles to kind of get that second tight end, to kind of upgrade over Stoll
Got to be
or
defense.
Calcaterra. But yeah, obviously they need defense. But yeah, I really do like the tight end class this year. I like the tight end class last year. And yeah, they're fun to talk about, honestly. So that's where I went. But yeah, we're gonna be doing the offensive line first. What a shocker! Eagles talking about the trenches, and yeah, there's a lot of good prospects. And again, we said this when we were talking about the offensive tackles. We don't know how this team offensive line is going to look next year, given Jason Kelsey, given Lane Johnson, and who shifts where, and does Juergens go to the center point? Do we draft a tackle and Steen stays at right guard, or do we draft a guard and Steen kicks outside, or does Juergens stay at guard and we go for a center? There's a lot of variables here, so it's good to kind of keep yourself familiar with not only the tackles but some of these interior offensive linemen that we're going to be talking about next.
Yeah, I feel like we should do interior offensive linemen and then throw in like a mock draft just to break it up a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say we haven't done one of those bad boys in a while.
I haven't gotten my ass kicked in a mock draft in a long time. I think I've lost every single one of our dueling mock draft shows. So we'll do one of those. But again, it's going to be a great college football playoff. Michigan versus Bama is in 30 minutes. For everything Michigan and Alabama, in the description below are our top 10 prospect rankings, and there are some great ones. Michigan and Alabama is the big one for me. That's the big game I can't wait to watch. But if you're looking for Washington as well, that is down there as well. Two great games tonight, guys. I hope you really enjoy them. I don't know. Are we going to do a reaction? I think we should do at least like a championship preview or something.
Yeah, we should definitely do a championship preview for sure.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for our top 10 interior offensive lineman rankings for the 2024 NFL draft. Ryan, where can we find you, man?
Listen, you can catch me here on Edge of Philly Sports, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you find Edge of Philly Sports. Please make sure you give it a like, a follow, a share. And like I said, especially on YouTube, dive in, man. We got so many videos, so many prospects, so many, top 10s, so many, like all of it. Just immerse yourself in this draft, and it's so much fun. But yeah, other than that, right here on the X at Philly Sports PSA, always doing shows. Tomorrow we're going to be doing Birds of the Round Table.
Do we have to?
Yeah, I know, right? It's going to be a sad, somber realization.
It's going to be just dead silence.
Yeah, it might be, but yeah, but me and Dives are constantly doing shows. We're doing Party on Broad. We're doing you name it, we got it. But yeah, Edge of Philly Sports is honestly where you want to be. Live, post game reactions to not only the Sixers, to the Eagles and the Flyers. So check it all out, and make sure you also give this guy a follow. Get yourself, just like I said, immerse yourself in this draft, and it is so much fun. Let me tell you.
If there's anything we learned about the Eagles the last 24 hours, this is a big draft year.
Yeah,
this is a big draft year. A lot of changes.
Bigger draft year than we fully expected about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, absolutely. But guys, thank you everyone for watching. Be on the lookout. Please consider subscribing. We put out a lot of polls and different things draft related. I put out individual scouting reports. I've been fighting a cold, so I haven't dropped any over the last 5 days. But they'll be hot. I got so many lined up. I just got to put it all together. So they're coming, and that's gonna then go into top 10, more top 10s, and all different big boards, and you name it. Just so much.
We got a lot of stuff coming out for the draft. Again, we have
much.
Almost 4 full months of draft coverage to come up for you. So please stay tuned and join us for the journey.
Yeah, we are well ahead of the curve. Give my man Ryan a follow at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dies, Mr. Crockpot. For Ryan, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.